It's tough to farm and make a living. Tobacco, cattle, hay. John wanted to farm really bad. It was a part of a diversification to help us farm.
And my father, Randy, he was on the board of the Nature Conservancy. He's a self-taught botanist. And basically what they were telling him was that there is a need and a desire for native grasses. And these native grasses are native to Kentucky specifically, so we call them Ecotype grasses.
And John and I talked about it, and we decided to do a little bit of it to help the Nature Conservancy and some other conservation organizations find native seed for their projects. Did a little of it by word of mouth. People wanted more. John would give up a few cows, give up a little bit of corn or tobacco, plant a little more natives until all of a sudden we don't have any more tobacco or cattle. It's all natives.
Basically the customer base, initially we had people like the Nature Conservancy who wanted to take the purest approach in that we wanted to get things that should have been in that area and put them directly back. And then we also have large-scale purchases in Natural Resource Conservation Services. We have CRP programs, which used to would put invasive species in. And now we want to go back to native, so if you go in a program, it is required that you use native grasses.
We are working with plants that are rare in Kentucky, declining at best. What we are doing with our production fields is taking Ecotype plants, carefully selecting seed harvest from that, propagating it, available to increase those rare forms. We are also very careful not to bring in ecotypes from other regions that would pollute the genetic diversity of the plants that we have here. So we're good stewards of the plants that we work with. We hope we're helping the environment in that manner.
Basically with natives, when we say natives, we're talking about native grasses, wildflowers, and legumes. And these were all parts of the prairies that we had. And the grasses themselves are more structure for wildlife. They were pasture for buffalo, they're pasture for cattle. The wildflowers themselves are aesthetically, they're beautiful to look at. But one of the main reasons that we have them, especially in the Department of Fish and Wildlife mixes, that they've got enough foresight to realize that these are the things that attract the insects. The insects are protein for quail. So it's just that big cycle that everything feeds off of. Initially, when we first got into the business, we had some grass, so we had some seed and thought, hey, you know, this is going to be great. We can figure this out. In our part of the country, we don't have combines to speak of. Our ground's not suitable for it. And so we started hand collecting, and then I've got a local machinist that was good enough to help us, and we worked with him, and he built our original machines for us. And now we're up to 12 different types of machines that we harvest with.
John is ingenious when it comes to taking machines like these and modifying them to the product that we make. These machines were made to do corn, beans, fescue, that sort of thing. Combines are the same way. None of the equipment that we use can be used for our product without major modifications. Now, we have gone out and with some local people actually made our own combines to do the product where nothing on the market would suffice. A part of it is, when we started, we thought it had to be just as pure as any other seed you bought. That was not the attitude of the market, but we didn't realize that. So John developed this equipment to make it just as clean as any other commercial seed that you could possibly buy. And it's been a big part of our success, the fact that our seed is dependable, it's clean. All of that's a part of the success that we've had in this.
From a harvesting aspect of it, we'll go out, you know, we'll drive to the fields initially because we may go all the way to eastern Kentucky and it may not be ripe, or the rain may have come and knocked the anthers off, and even though it looks wonderful, there may not be a good seed on it. So we physically go and see it. If it's going to work out, then we go and do our harvest, and then it has to be put on air the day that it comes out of the combine so it doesn't overheat. It's brought in here, put in drying bins, it's then dried. It'll probably be there for 3 to 4 weeks, and then we'll run it through the cleaning system, which this particular system has 17 steps. And then after that, it's put in a cooler at 50 degrees, 50% humidity, and it is stored there until we start doing our mixes. And from that point, we'll get work orders down from the office, however the orders come in, and then we will custom blend every single lot.
I guess part of the reason I wanted to get into this, you know, at one time there was 3 to 5 million acres of tall grass prairie in Kentucky. It's gone. There's less than 1/2 of 1%, even in degraded form, still here. And I was just mad because I didn't get to see any of it. It was gone before I got a chance to see it. We're bringing some of it back. Maybe not in its purest form, but in places like Mammoth Cave where we're given an opportunity to do real restoration, it approaches its pure form. It's something you're really proud of.
I feel like I'm doing good. You know, when we first got into this, we're taking things that were in nature. It's almost like treasure hunting. We're putting them back, and if it's in a program, sometimes the criteria set up doesn't always make it look as good as it could, but when we're able to work with it and maintain it, then we make something beautiful. We bring back wildlife habitat, or we make good forage, or we may be able to clean the air up a little bit if it's for biofuels. So it lets us feel good about what we do anyway.
I think that the greatest joy in life is the pride you take in the accomplishment of your children. And I'm fortunate enough to have all of my children close by, and most of them involved in this business, and to get to watch that and participate in it and to work with John, it's made life pretty wonderful for me.